everyone, Melissa here. I'm back with another video, and this week I just really wanted to give a motivational pep talk, challenge included. Let's get our stuff, let's get what we want, let's manifest what we want regularly, and once and for all, ditch all the doubts. So this video is going to have a challenge included, and it's going to be a really simple, direct way for you to finally let go of your doubts and fears when it comes to manifesting whatever you want. So stick around for that. I think this is going to be a really helpful video for manifesting absolutely anything. And before I get into today's video topic, just a reminder, I'm available for one-on-one coaching. You can find the link for that in the description of this video. I also have some self-study courses, some affirmation bundles for specific subject matter, and yeah, I would love to help you get out of your own way when it comes to manifesting whatever you want in your life. So let's get into today's topic. I really liked this idea of ditching doubts because we all have them. We all have them. And sometimes they can feel really small and we can easily dismiss them. And sometimes they can feel ginormous and overpowering. And what's the difference between those two? The difference is the belief you choose to have in them. The difference is the truth you are choosing to attach to them. The difference is how you are labeling them. We talk all the time about how circumstances don't matter. What matters is the meaning you're giving every circumstance, the meaning you're giving every single experience, the meaning you're giving the things people do, the things people say. How you're choosing to perceive something is everything when it comes to your reality experience. And nobody can perceive in your reality, only you can. So when you have doubts and fears, if you are choosing to agree with them and perceive that they are the truth, that's what you're bringing into your experience. You're going to continue to perceive more experiences, more reasons why those doubts are true, because you've assumed that this thought that you don't like is true or permanent, or the way things are, the way somebody else is, or the way you are, or what's possible or not possible for you. You're labeling the doubt that way. So when you do that, you're immediately doing yourself a disservice, because you could, let's go back to Neville. What does Neville say about assumptions? An assumption, if persisted in or when persisted in, hardens into fact. That's because your assumptions are boss in your reality. You are the only one who can assume things in your reality. You look at something and you assume it is this way. You look at somebody's behavior and you make it mean that they are this way. You assume that they are this way. And then guess what? That person keeps showing up that same way. Let's use some examples. Let's say you grew up always thinking that money was hard to make. Where you got that assumption, it could have come from a bunch of different places. Maybe your parents had a limiting view about money, and you didn't know any better, so you just decided, oh, well, that must be the truth. Money must be hard for us. We must not be as lucky as rich people, or riches are not easily attained, or you could only make a lot of money with certain jobs. Where the assumption came from doesn't really matter. What matters is, what do you want to assume now? What do you want to experience now? If you continue to agree with your doubts, you're going to continue to experience more reasons to agree with your doubts. You're going to continue to experience more things in your reality that you will perceive as, my doubts are the truth. My worries are the truth. My worst fears are the truth. Everything is hard. Everything is going to feel harder and less possible and more limiting. Why? Because you're looking at your reality through the lens of the doubts, through the lens of the fears. You're labeling the doubts as the truth. The second you stop doing that, everything shifts. Everything shifts. Why? Because you are the only perceiver in your reality. Whatever you say you are, it is, he is, she is, change those definitions if you don't want to experience something that you don't prefer. So let's go back to the doubts. Why do we believe so hard in our doubts? Why do we let our doubts have so much power over us? Why do we think that the doubts are the truth or the only possibility? They're not actually true. They're a neutral, empty, meaningless thought that we then assign a truth to. We assign a meaning to it. The truth is subjective to your assumption. So let's say you start challenging those doubts, instead of looking at them like they are the only truth and they are so powerful and so real and so strong, knock them down. Challenge what you are agreeing with. Challenge what doubt you are agreeing with. Why do I think that this is the only truth? And a lot of times the answer is going to be, well, because look, my physical reality is showing me this. That equals this doubt. I have proof in my 3D that the doubt is the truth. Well, proof is subjective also. Proof changes when your assumptions change. Proof changes when your perceptions change. Circumstances change when you change here first. It's always how it works. You always hear the mirror example in law of assumption, law of attraction community. It's like, if you want to see a different reflection, you don't change the mirror, you change here. You change you. You change you and the reflection changes. You change you and reality changes. Your experiences change. When you change the way you see things, the things you're looking at change. When you change the way you're thinking about things, the things you're thinking about change. So, we're not going to let the doubts boss us around anymore. We're not going to let the doubts have any power. They're powerless, they're meaningless, they're empty, they're lies. So the challenge this week and forevermore is don't agree with your doubts. Just stop agreeing with them. When you catch yourself doubting, hold up, why am I agreeing with that? That feels terrible. That feels terrible. That makes me feel limited. That makes me feel like I can't get what I want. That makes me feel like what I want isn't possible. That makes me feel like I'm not good enough. That makes me, whatever the doubt is, stop agreeing with it. The second you do that, you have started on a new mental diet, you have changed your story, you have changed your perception, your perspective, and guess what? Everything out here must shift because you're only perceiving your reality, always. So no more agreeing with doubts. Every time you have a doubt, I want you to shut it down. Disagree with it. Stop allowing it to be true for you. In that moment, you are the power, not the doubt. The doubt is just an idea that you've latched onto that makes you feel terrible. And that's how you can tell when you've got a doubt going on. It's going to align with some kind of feeling in your body. It doesn't feel good to think, I'm never going to be abundant. I don't know how I'm not sure I'm ever going to be happy. I'm not sure I'm ever going to find love. Maybe love is not meant for me. Maybe I'm not good enough for this job. Maybe I'm never going to get my dream house or my dream life or my dream car or my dream person. Those are just ideas. Stop agreeing with them. No more. From this moment forward, you are not agreeing with any doubt. And the other bonus to this is when you do that, you're completely leveling up your self-concept. And that's everything in manifesting. Who you think you are is what you experience. Who you think other people are. What is your concept of other people? When you change the ideas you're attaching to things, when you change what you're believing or choosing to decide is true about things and people and yourself, everything changes. So how can you assume anything better than that doubt? What could I agree with instead? You don't have to believe it. You just don't have to agree with it. Just stop letting it be true for you. So let's do some examples. Let's go back to money. So let's say you get invited to go on a trip and you really want to go, but you don't have, currently in your reality, in your 3D physical experience, you don't have enough money in your bank account. So then immediately a doubt pops in. Number one, you're using the 3D as proof, which is always backwards. The proof is here, not here. And you decide what everything means. So even if you see $5 in your bank account, that's only proof of you being broke if you say so. You decide the meaning. So the doubt comes up. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford this trip. I might not be able to go. How am I going to come up with the money? Okay? Hold up. Doubt, you are a lie. You are not the truth. You are not powerful. You are just a thought. You don't own me. You don't get to determine my reality. I do. How do you shift that doubt into conviction in a better truth, into conviction in a new story? You just pick a better thought. So instead, it doesn't matter what's showing up right there. I'm going to get to go. I'm going to have a great time. Money always comes to me. Somehow, some way, I'm going to be able to go on that trip. It doesn't matter if I have the money or not. I'm going to get to go. I'm going on that trip. Somehow, some way. I don't have to know how right now. I don't have to be able to believe in abundance right now, but I'm definitely not going to agree with it's going to be hard to come up with money for that trip, or that it's not going to be possible for me. You stop agreeing with the thought that equals what you don't want. You stop agreeing with the thought that makes you feel so bad. You start agreeing with any better assumption. Anything is possible for me. I'm absolutely going to get to go on this trip, and I don't need to know how or why. Choose something better. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's talk about SP. Lots of people like to talk about SP. So, okay, let's say you're in no contact with somebody, and you're wanting to receive a text message or get back into contact, okay? And you start thinking about contact with them, and then in your mind you're like, well, I don't know, I haven't heard from them in months, it's probably not going to happen. They don't want to talk to me. Why? Hold up. I'm not going to agree with that thought. That's a doubt that does not match what I want, and it feels really bad. Why can't I assume anything better? If the truth is subjective to my labeling, to my assumption, to my perspective, then I can choose a better thought, and that experience can push out for me. So instead, okay, doubt, I'm not going to agree with you. I'm going to choose to decide that I hear from them often. They love talking to me. We are in communication. I do get messages from them. And then move along. You don't need the proof. You don't need your phone to pop up with a message on it right there to start disagreeing with the doubt. You can disagree with the doubt before you see evidence in your 3D. And evidence is a lie too. If the labels you're giving things is the only evidence you ever need. If you're wondering why something isn't showing up in your reality, ask yourself, what am I telling myself is true about it right now? There's your answer. It's never about the proof in the 3D, because that's subjective too. I'll give it an example of that. Let's go back to the text message and communication. This is how you can prove that your assumptions project in your reality. You can be talking to somebody and stop receiving communication from them. You can choose to perceive that in an infinite number of ways. You can choose to decide, oh, I'm being ghosted. They're never going to talk to me again. They're blowing me off. That's it. That's what this means. And then that's going to project out into your experience. Or in that same exact circumstance, you can choose to perceive something different. You can choose to disagree with a doubt, to assign a better meaning to it and say, okay, you know what? I didn't get a message from them, and that kind of bummed me out. That initially made me feel bad because it made me think they don't want to talk to me. I'm not going to agree with that doubt. I'm not going to make it mean that. I'm going to decide something better. I'm going to assume something better. I'm going to perceive something better about this meaningless circumstance. And I'm going to say, I'll definitely hear back from them. They're just busy. Or I don't even know why they haven't reached out to me, but it doesn't matter. They want to talk to me. We're in contact. Period. And then move along. You see how it's always, your reality is always subjective to your view on something. So if you perceive the ghosting, guess what? That's how that experience is going to push out in your reality until you change your assumption about it, until you change the label you're giving it, the truth you're assigning to it. If you perceive that you're in contact, regardless of what is showing up or not showing up on your phone, that's what you're going to experience with that person. So it's never about the proof in the 3D. The 3D experience shows up, and then based on whatever truth you're believing in, whatever truth you're assigning, whatever your concept is of that person, of that thing, of yourself, whatever your perception is, then that's what that circumstance then means to you, which we interpret as proof. So let's do another example. Okay, so lots of people talk about signs and birds before land, right? So let's say you start wanting to manifest a relationship with somebody, okay? And as soon as you start thinking about them, then you see their name everywhere. Lots of people choose to make that choose to see that as, oh, it's proof that I'm getting what I want. It's proof that what I want is manifesting. It's not actually proof of anything. You're choosing to perceive it that way, so it's going to play out. It's going to align with the story that develops in your reality. It's going to align with the experiences that develop in your reality. But you don't actually need any proof out here. You don't need to see that person's name in order for it to manifest. But you're using the circumstance to your advantage and making it mean that if that bolsters the truth that you want, then absolutely do it. Play around with it. So that's why believe in the doubts? Why agree with the doubts? They don't equal what you want. They're not going to help you experience what you want. They're just going to make you feel limited and think that what you want is not possible. And it's just a lie you're telling yourself. It's a label you're putting on a thought that equals what you don't want, which is why you perceive no proof that what you want is happening, which is why you think you're stuck, which is why you think there's no movement in the 3D. Because you're choosing to agree with your doubts. You're choosing to label whatever you're experiencing as what I want is not happening and true and possible. So, this week's challenge, no more agreeing with the doubts. They're lies, they're irrelevant, they're ridiculous, they don't equal what I want, I don't prefer them, bye, see ya, out the window, let it go. And move into a better thought. Sorry, doubt, I disagree with you, I decide better. So, instead of agreeing with the doubt, you're deciding better. You're deciding something better. Choose a better thought. Even if the doubt feels comfortable and familiar. It only feels comfortable and familiar because you're so used to thinking it. You're used to thinking about what you want in that way. So the doubt feels real to you. Pick a better thought. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, an assumption when persisted in hardens into fact. Your perception is your power. You have to change the way you're thinking about what you want if you want it to experience it. If you are someone who keeps agreeing with the doubts. And another way you can tell if you are that person is, are you getting triggered a lot? Are you spiraling a lot? Are things in the 3D making you instantly reliving the past that you don't like and thinking you're not good enough? Or, that's a telltale sign that you are agreeing with a doubt. You're agreeing with an idea that equals, I can't have it, I'm not going to get it, it's not possible, it's not happening. No more of that. Ditch those doubts, disagree with your doubts, agree with a better truth. Stick a better label on it, even if, and especially if, you don't see any proof of that truth of the label. You don't see any proof that it can happen, that it's possible, that this label, this thought that contradicts your doubt, you see no proof. Who cares? Who cares? We don't need proof. We decide here and then we experience it. That's it. So stop deciding that your doubts are the truth. And you will see, number one, you will feel so much better. And number two, you will see your world just change for the better constantly. So, challenge this week. Disagree with your doubts at every opportunity. Disagree with them. They're not the truth, period. Okay? All right, that's it for this video. I intend you have an amazing week ahead, and put in the comments when you disagree with your doubts. What happened? What showed up? And how is it making you feel? How is disagreeing with your doubts making you feel? Because you should feel empowered. You're taking your power back. You're not letting a thought boss you around anymore. You're not letting a circumstance boss you around anymore, because it means whatever you say it means. All right? All right, I think that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.